Napoleon Bonaparte, a towering figure in military and political history, known for his ambition, resilience, and charisma. Yet there's one aspect that has fueled rumors and speculations: his height. Was Napoleon truly short, or is there more to this historical giant than meets the eye? Join us as we delve into the past and fast forward through the captivating story of Napoleon Bonaparte. You will not want to miss the surprising revelations behind his achievements and the real measure of the man. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1796 on the Mediterranean island of Corsica. The island had just transitioned from Italian to French rule, and though his family was of a noble class, the Bonapartes lived frugally amidst political turmoil. Initially tied to Corsican nationalism, Napoleon's parents later aligned with France. At age 9, his parents secured a spot for him at a military academy in northern France. Shorter than his peers, speaking with a foreign accent and modest means, young Napoleone faced constant bullying. Undeterred, he earned a scholarship to the prestigious military school in Paris. Immersing himself in the lives of leaders like Caesar and Alexander, intense study became a form of resistance to life's cruelty. This commitment paid off when he led classmates to victory in a legendary snowball battle. As a winning leader, he finally gained the acceptance from his peers that he had been missing. The death of his father in 1785 fast-tracked Napoleon's studies, leading to the commencement of his military career. 4 years later, Napoleon found himself in the midst of one of the biggest events in European history. In 1789, the French Revolution erupted, toppling the monarchy. It ushered in an era of rule by the people. It was a tenuous time, filled with beheadings and power struggles. Meanwhile, monarchies across Europe feared the battle cry of freedom would spread. The 20-year-old Bonaparte embraced the ideals of the new republic, but was eager to put his new military and political skills to use for an entirely different cause. Returning to his island home, Napoleone longed to join his hero, the great Corsican nationalist and military commander Pasquale Paoli. However, Bonaparte discovered that Paoli was secretly collaborating with the British and undermining Corsica's bid for independence. The betrayal reached a climax when Paoli deemed the young idealist too French for Corsica, and Bonaparte returned the betrayal in kind, declaring Paoli a traitor. Napoleone would now embrace the opportunities only France could provide. He would even adopt the more French-sounding Napoleon Bonaparte. Yet, he would still have to prove himself in battle, and Bonaparte would do exactly that. Southern European forces joined with the British to lay siege to the port town of Toulon. Napoleon took charge and executed a plan that forced a British retreat. A French general said of Bonaparte at the time, "I have no words to describe Bonaparte's merit. Much technical skill, an equal degree of intelligence, and too much gallantry." The victory at Toulon earned Bonaparte a coveted new assignment: command of the French army in Italy. As he basked in this accomplishment, another challenge loomed. Could he also secure a hand in marriage? Napoleon arrives back in Paris. Now in his mid-20s, he's ready to find success in matrimony. He was soon engaged to Miss Désirée Clary, but swiftly dissolved the commitment after meeting a captivating woman the world would come to know as Josephine. She was a widow with 2 children who narrowly escaped execution during the Reign of Terror. She was also an immigrant from Martinique, which would have undoubtedly appealed to Bonaparte. Despite being 6 years his senior, Josephine possessed influential connections within French society, a draw for Napoleon seeking to advance his career. What's more, Josephine was a beautiful and complex woman who would continue to enrapture and taunt the young general for years. Not long after the couple wed, Napoleon left for Italy, where his success in battle continued to soar. Leading the French army with masterful tactics, including swift movements, surprise attacks, and capitalizing on the enemy's vulnerabilities, Napoleon achieved notable victories. His conquest of Italy helped to end the French Revolutionary War in favor of France. Yet, while Napoleon was confident in battle and politics, he still questioned his acceptance within French society. These internal conflicts often played out in his relationship with Josephine. Napoleon frequently wrote to Josephine, expressing profound emotion. "Since I left you, I have been constantly depressed. My happiness is to be near you. Incessantly I live over in my memory your caresses, your tears, your affectionate solicitude." But his love was unrequited. Josephine's responses were sporadic and cool. The one-sided nature of their correspondence intensified his feelings of pain, rejection, and insecurity. Victories on the battlefield provided certainty and became a refuge for Napoleon, offering a necessary distraction from the turmoil of his personal life. Life and love were indeed a battlefield, and the stakes were about to rise. In 1798, Napoleon embarked on a mission to Egypt, aiming to disrupt British trade routes to India, undermine British influence, and extend French authority. During this period, Napoleon's internal turmoil possibly led to his affair with Pauline Fouret, the wife of a junior officer, earning her the moniker Napoleon's Cleopatra. Simultaneously, marital tensions and battlefield challenges intertwined. Despite initial success in Egypt, the British Royal Navy retaliated, inflicting a substantial defeat on Napoleon's forces at the Battle of the Nile. In the wake of these brutal encounters, little did anyone suspect that Napoleon's newfound ruthlessness would soon find a different battleground: politics. At the age of 30, Bonaparte returned to Paris and quickly orchestrated a coup that dissolved the Directory, establishing himself as the first consul of France. Despite potential criticism, Bonaparte believed France required an autocratic leader for its greater good. That same year, he introduced the Napoleonic Code, a monumental legal reform that included groundbreaking principles such as equality before the law and protection of property rights. These laws consolidated the pursuits of the revolution by establishing a more just and equitable legal system. There's little doubt he enjoyed trappings of supreme leadership, but ostentation was also a way to mask feelings of inadequacy. If becoming the first consul wasn't daring enough, Bonaparte's next political move was so audacious it would shock the world to this day. In 1804, at Notre Dame Cathedral, Napoleon Bonaparte crowned himself Emperor of France. In Bonaparte's gallant style, he plucked the crown from the hands of Pope Pius VII and placed it upon his own head. His wife, Josephine, was also crowned and given the title of Empress of the French. From humble Corsican roots to Emperor of France, the coronation was the ultimate manifestation of what a Frenchman could achieve in this new era. It was a glorious occasion, and what followed was the pinnacle of Bonaparte's military prowess, the Battle of Austerlitz. In 1805, over 90,000 troops from Russia and Austria clashed with Bonaparte's 68,000 troops in the Battle of the Three Emperors, also known as Austerlitz. Despite being outnumbered, Napoleon's modern warfare strategy prevailed, securing a dazzling victory and cementing his reputation as a military genius. He later declared it, "the grandest of all I have fought." The triumph solidified his military reputation, and with the empire secure, Napoleon turned his attention to his personal legacy. Despite Napoleon's deep love for Josephine, their marriage was not without difficulty. Napoleon's military duties often kept them apart, leading to extramarital affairs on both sides. Josephine's penchant for extravagant spending, lavish parties, and a collection of the finest clothes prompted Napoleon to remark, "I win battles, but Josephine wins hearts." Despite their deep personal connection, Napoleon yearned for a son to secure the succession of the Napoleonic dynasty and to cement his legitimacy as a ruler in the eyes of traditional European monarchies. In 1810, just a few months after his divorce, Napoleon wed Archduchess Marie-Louise of Austria. This union aimed to strengthen Napoleon's ties with the Austrian Empire and secure a direct heir. The birth of a son on March 20th, 1811, marked a significant triumph for Napoleon, resolving an insecurity that had troubled him for years. However, the joy from this marriage was short-lived, giving way to some of his greatest defeats. The coalition countries were determined to defeat Napoleon's empire, and it was only a matter of time before the great French commander would flinch. That moment came in 1812. Bonaparte had initiated a blockade on the British Empire with the goal of cutting off trade to the continent, but it failed. Russia, initially part of the blockade, reneged on the alliance. Bonaparte needed revenge. He turned his troops toward Russia and invaded. It would prove to be his most fatal mistake. The Russians employed a scorched earth strategy, drawing Bonaparte further and further into the Russian interior. By the time Bonaparte marched on an abandoned Moscow, winter struck, and his army was at an extreme disadvantage. Bonaparte would barely make it back to France alive. It was a catastrophic defeat and a major turning point. The Russian campaign took a profound toll on Napoleon's forces. His once mighty army was significantly diminished, and the loss of trusted generals, advisors, and confidants left Napoleon mentally fatigued and frustrated. At the Battle of Leipzig in 1813, also known as the Battle of Nations, the Sixth Coalition would deal a death blow to Napoleon's empire. He was given little choice but to abdicate his throne and was exiled to the island of Elba. Napoleon, ever the resilient strategist, viewed the loss as a mere setback to be gallantly defied. A year later, Napoleon returned, initiating what would later be known as the 100 Days' War, his last stand. The period showcased glimpses of the once courageous and honourable commander as he rallied an army. However, facing the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo, the once great commander displayed uncharacteristic caution and lacked the tact that had brought him past success. Bonaparte would be exiled again, this time to the distant island of St. Helena, guarded by an astounding 3,000 men, a testament to the threat such a giant of a commander posed. Over the next 5 years, Napoleon faced physical and mental decline under the weight of isolation, stomach pain, and nausea. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the biggest military generals in history, a juggernaut in battle, winning over 80 and suffering a mere 11 defeats. He would lose his final battle with stomach cancer at the age of 51. So, was Napoleon short? Technically, he was of average height, but there are two reasons this mythology persists. The first has to do with pre-metric French measurements. In other words, the French measured a foot as slightly longer. So, according to the French standard at the time, he was a large 5 foot 2 inches. Translated to today's imperial system, he would have measured 5 foot 6 inches. The second reason originates from British propaganda during the Napoleonic Wars. The Napoleon syndrome draws from caricatures, portrayals, and negative narratives that have continued to shape public perceptions of Napoleon Bonaparte even today. The historical image of a petty tyrant remains deeply embedded. This perspective is only now being challenged by new perspectives. Napoleon is undoubtedly one of the greatest figures in history, not just for his military and political genius, but for his ability to succeed despite any shortcomings in his life. A man born as an outsider who embraced the ideas of the French Revolution. More importantly, his military prowess in the face of outside threats allowed the seeds of the revolution to firmly take root. He nurtured it and helped cement the spirit of liberty, equality, and fraternity into history, and left behind a legacy that continues to capture imaginations to this day.